So can you walk us through your mastering chain?
Yeah, I mean, basically in the box, it's relatively simple. I use Pro Tools to play back the mixes that are sent to me. And also all the creative work in terms of plugs happens in Pro Tools as well. And then the output of Pro Tools goes to a Pyramix system where I print my final masters and do all my final assembly and output. So I get kind of the best of both worlds with those two workstations. The Pyramix is so adept at two-channel editing, is so adept at final master output, whether it's high-resolution wave files or 44:116 waves, DDPs, so on and so forth. It's so easy to output great masters. Also has really amazing sample rate conversion and dither built right into it. But Pro Tools shines on the creative side. So I have a wide array of plugins that I use. Of course, probably about 10 or 12 that are my go-to every day. And I'm always trying new ones. But essentially, the Pro Tools is where all the creative stuff happens. And then the assembly happens in Pyramix.
Can we talk about those plugins?
Oh, we can talk about them a little bit, sure. I mean, one of my favorites for equalization is the Massenburg MDW. And that's actually sort of the digital corollary to my favorite of that ilk in the analog side, which was the GML 9500. Both of them are just Swiss Army knife equalizers that, can allow for some real surgical small move EQ moves, but also can allow for like some really broadband EQ moves as well. In fact, if you were to tell me, hey, as a challenge, you can only utilize one equalizer on this session today, I would say, well, it's going to be the MDW, and I know I'm going to end up with amazing results for it. In terms of other EQs, where, 15 years ago, where I felt things started to get really good in the box was for these broader, more musical type EQs. So the analog corollaries to that would be like the Sontec EQ or the Manley Massive Passive, which are both, quite unique in what they do, and nothing quite sounds like them until in the digital domain. Well, for many years now, the Massive Passive had been emulated by UAD, and I've been using that for a long time. And just recently, in the past year, the Sontec has been emulated, but I started finding other really good, what I would call musical or broad stroke EQs in the box, some of them, again, direct modeling of those EQs that I could utilize as plugins. So when I was doing a hybrid signal path regularly, that's mostly what I'd be using the hybrid signal path for, was to go out to the analog domain and use those equalizers that I felt were broad stroke musical and you just didn't have in the box. But that all changed quite a while ago. So you'd find the MDW quite often in my chain. You'd find the Sontec plugin. You'd find the Manley Massive Passive. Those are like three of my favorite plugs for sure.
To watch the full video, click the link below and don't forget to subscribe.